So there's this TF2 YouTuber named Zesty Jesus, who I guess is a really controversial guy. And the other day, I decided to look into the allegations about him on stream to determine whether he's, evil. Here it is. So this is his account, Zesty Jesus. See his YouTube account. Oh, 80,000 subs. I don't know what this is. This is a little dark, whatever's going on here. What's his most popular video? Zesty Jesus. Team Fortress 2, the worst item in the game.
It's bugged, ergo not consistent. You don't always get the same result. Therefore, it's not reliable. You don't know if it's going to work or not.
Okay, so just like standard kind of TF2 content. So the twit longer. Putting this to rest because I'm beyond tired of seeing it. I typed the word T-slur a handful of times inside of my Discord. This was in response to a group of cheaters / stream snipers that would bother me while streaming TF2. It was a group centered on 4chan. They were also transgender. They were also French. I called them French T-words out of anger as a result. I also typed T-slur in regards to saying that they aren't femboys, and also saying at some point that I didn't realize it's a slur. I also juxtaposed mentally ill with T-slur, which led people to believe that I think transgender people are mentally ill. Also, I think I typed T-slur once when referring to a weapon name that contained the word in TF2. So right off the bat, this person's being pretty upfront with whatever they said. Definitely some edgy meme, some edgy memes here. All of this was nearly 2 years ago. Oh, okay, so this was a while ago. This wasn't even recent. Do we know how old this person is? Because are they joined in 2016? I mean, that can be a deciding sort of factor. Obviously I'm not in a position to call them out, and that's not what I'm trying to do. All of this was nearly 2 years ago. Someone screenshotted this, and it's been circulating the web ever since. I offended people by using T-slur, which I do understand is an offensive word. It wasn't my intention to offend people, and I'm sorry if I did. I am not transphobic in any way. I genuinely do not care how people live their lives. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the position that I would have, right? Like, I'm pretty cool with people saying whatever they want and doing whatever they want as long as they don't fuck with my shit. A lot of people seem to think that I'm transphobic. I think it comes from this one random tweet that I made a while ago where I was like, trans rights, what about trans wrongs? Which is that really that transphobic, that tweet? I mean, it doesn't even mean anything. There's no actual meaning to it. And they called me transphobic because my girlfriend made this tweet once. And the tweet was like a picture of me next to a picture of her, and it was saying that we transitioned into one another, right? It was like a picture of me and then a picture of her, and it said like 6 months on HRT or something, which was implying that I've become a trans person, right? A lot of trans people, at first, they retweeted it on Twitter. They were cool with it, but within like minutes, they started realizing that it was fake. And not only did they realize it was fake, they realized it was me. And she got a ridiculous amount of death threats. She got a ridiculous amount of people calling her ugly, calling her fat. I mean, I'm not trying to like just prop myself up here or her. That's just not the point of what I'm saying here. But like objectively, she's an attractive girl. She's a stereotypically attractive girl if you see pictures of her. And all the people who are like shitting on her, I would go to their profile because they'd be like shitting on. They'd be like, you're ugly, you're ugly. So I clicked on their profiles, and they would be some of the most fucked up looking, straight out of hell individuals I've ever seen. Most of them weren't even trans that I saw, but they were really fucking mad at her, and it was over a totally like inoffensive joke that wasn't even at the expense of trans people or their experience or anything about that. And I don't think trans people in real life are like that. The average trans person is probably not that upset at people making even just a totally benign joke. And like her joke had been made so many times before as well. Like there was an example of it floating around of a picture of Shoe on Head next to Leafy is here, and he was saying like 6 months on HRT, joking that they look kind of similar, and no one got mad at that, but she did it. And then you had these like trans people on Twitter being like, this is literally stolen valor. I'm so tired of cis people. And they were getting like 40,000 likes. It was crazy. And people were sending her constant death threats and stuff. And I'm not saying that to play the victim, because like me and her were fine, right? At the end of the day, these are people behind a screen. The kind of people that get that upset at you over a tweet like that and are like, oh, if I saw you in person, I'd bully you. I remember there was this one person who was like, if I was in high school, I would have shoved you in a locker. And I clicked on their account, and they were like a 5'6" like nerdy dude with freckles who was like fat and had glasses and looked like they played Dota all day. These people, if you said anything mean to them in person, they would pee their pants. They would fucking shit themselves in front of you, and you would be laughing at them, okay? It would be a truly amazing affair to see. So it's really not a situation where any of these people would say any of this shit in person, and none of them are tough guys. Maybe they were 13. I know some people were like, a lot of them are kids. I bet a lot of them are, but some of them were definitely adults, and it was obvious just from their profiles. And ultimately, I didn't go after any of them. I didn't single them out. Like I could have gone to the same tactics. You know, they're calling my girlfriend ugly, who is like a pretty girl, and I go to their accounts and they're like fucked up looking. Obviously, I had the temptation to be like, well, look at you, but I didn't, because I think in my head I was just like, they know that already, okay? They already know that. It's in the same way that, so a few years ago when I got canceled for saying the N-word, it was by this person who was in a group chat with me, and we were all the same age at the time that I had said that word in that particular chat. We were all like 16, and we were super edgy, and that person was as edgy as I I was at that time. And they then decided to like take screenshots of me and try to like fuck with me. And I remember later checking on their account, and they were tweeting out like 6 months later, I was stalking them, and they were like, my biggest accomplishment is exposing a racist YouTuber. Obviously, the thought in my head was like, oh, this person who tried to royally fuck me so bad, this person who tried to fuck with my career, they tried to fuck with my reputation, this person's just a nobody. And this person is like living in a trailer park right now, okay? That kind of energy where you're going back through old DMs you had with someone and trying to call them racist over fucking nothing when you were doing that same shit. It's toxic for your personality. It's toxic for the universe and your life, I think. We're gonna get back to this twit longer now. Apologize for the 10-minute tangent. I am not transphobic in any way. I genuinely do not care how people live their lives, nor do I hold the belief that transgender people are mentally ill. I called this group of cheaters/stream snipers mentally ill because I believe it takes a certain level of mental depravity to go out of your way to stalk and harass someone online. Yeah, probably true. I also typed the word soft A N-word in 2 tweets from 5 years ago. 5 years ago. One is a direct quote from the Eric Andre show, the episode with Lance Reddick. I found that line funny, so I tweeted it. Another was an exasperated statement about a homework assignment. Apparently, in the eyes of Twitter, these 2 tweets make me racist. I am not. I still stand by what I said, in that typing words, slurs, whatever on a screen doesn't automatically mean you hate an entire subsection of the human population. True. Very true. And this is the thing, a lot of people now are like moral crusaders over this, who just a few years ago were super edgy, okay? And it became apparent to me that these people aren't like principled in the position of like humor is cool. They were just saying it because it was the trend at the time. And now that it's not the trend, they're not saying it. And these same people will have you convinced like, oh no, I changed. I realized it was wrong. But you only realized it was wrong when the rest of the world also realized it was wrong. When the rest of the world also wisened up and decided to stop saying the N-word on Discord and watching iDubbbz videos or whatever, and decided that Leafy is here was evil. It's not a coincidence. You people are sheep. Sheeple, wake up! Wake up, sheeple! I still stand by what I said, and the typing words, whatever on a screen doesn't automatically mean you hate an entire subsection. It's extremely foolish to think this way, however prevalent this way of thinking is today. Context is important, so I've provided it. This is truth. If you see or read anything different, it is not truth. It's become extremely tiresome to have any opinions I make online immediately disregarded as those from a racist transphobe, but therefore wrong, because I typed some bad words a few times now years ago. This isn't to say my arguments are valid otherwise, they're sometimes very clearly not. I'm just tired of the constant aforementioned deflections. Acknowledging stuff like this is always a mistake, since trying to convince anyone who has already made up their mind about you is a fruitless endeavor. That's very true. Like, ultimately, I think my issue with the D'Angelo Wallace thing is acknowledging it in any serious way at all. Because what I wanted people to think was like, well, I was like in my head, I'm like, I'm not racist. Like, why? It doesn't make sense people will call me that. So I need to respond with, I'm not racist. But that kind of response doesn't work because those people aren't playing on a level playing field anyway. It's just not worth it. So ultimately, I think the only response you can do is joke about it and move on, or ignore it and move on. And I wouldn't blame anyone for doing that in that situation, because there's just no benefit to even responding. These people can't be convinced. They made up their mind about you, and they're not there to get to the bottom of anything. Ultimately, 90% of that crowd, the crowd that witch hunts people for saying slurs on Discord, okay? That crowd is just there to bully people. It's for a witch hunt. And I'm not gonna like cry about it and be like, oh, I'm a victim of bullying, but it's just like they used to bully people via slurs. Now they bully people who say slurs. It's the same thing. But I acknowledge my mistake in using T-slur in the past, and again, apologize for it. This is just for those willing to read it. Can't make everyone happy, and for some, even an apology will never be enough. If my online behavior, before and after I type these words, is of any indication, I am very clearly not racist or transphobic. I may grouch, but I don't hate anyone. Also, following someone doesn't equate to an automatic endorsement of everything they tweet, like, or retweet. I already see this happening, so I'm saying it again. I now leave this for Twitter to digest. If people have questions, just DM me. Always open. I have no face left to save. If the past 2 years of Twitter drama are any indication of it, I'm just tired of it. And please stop sending gore/death threats/other awful shit to my work email. Yeah, this is something people do. They're like, oh, you said the N-word on Discord? How do I ruin your life forever? How do I fuck you up? It's like, what is wrong with you guys? What is going through the mind of someone sending gore or death threats to this person, thinking that they're like in the right? It's just like complete insanity. I hate that this is how things are. I don't like saying I'm used to it at this stage, but I still don't like seeing it. In before Zesty cycle lol, and people completely ignore anything I've just typed. And hello Fortnite fans, thank you for bringing up ancient drama again. I still don't like your game and its influence on modern game companies. So apparently this guy Zesty Jesus, this TF2 YouTuber, really pissed off some Fortnite fans. Here he tweeted, if you told me 10 years ago that I'd one day wake up to death threats from Fortnite fans on Twitter for calling the game a negative influence, I'd have called you crazy, yet here we are. And people are just responding with this, which like has literally nothing to do with any of it. Yeah, this is what they do. They just spam the image as if that means anything. This person says, he used the word T-slur, so what? And this person says, find other ways to disappoint your bloodline. Well, I had to break it to you, Polaris042, whoever you are. Your entire bloodline was transphobic, okay? Anyone 50 years ago, and I do mean anyone, okay? Anyone in your bloodline, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, if they saw a trans person, do you think they'd be pleased with that? Do you think they'd be happy? Do you know what they did to trans people a few hundred years ago? Do you know what they did to cross-dressers? Do you think they'd be cool with that? Yeah, now they're just posting this. For those curious, some moron reported my account for violating Twitter's rules because I said, and we have soft A N slur twice in 2017, and because I say T slur every now and again. If you think either of those things makes me racist or transphobic, seek mental help. I mean, on one hand, you know, if you're a trans person, I guess instinctively, if you just see this out of context, it probably would make you upset because maybe you've been called, you know, T slur or whatever in some context and that upset you. So I guess that makes sense. But man, these people are just like fucking annoying. I feel bad for this dude because this is the same shit that happened to me when I was on Twitter. People just like anytime you say anything, they just spam it with that. You people are retarded. I fucking hate all of you. So yeah, I guess, I mean, unless there's something I'm totally missing here, I don't think Zesty Jesus is a bad dude. They seem pretty cool. They made a decent Twitlonger response. Like they held their ground, which is nice to see for once because most people just wouldn't do that. I mean, even when it happened to me back in the day, I didn't really know how to handle it. You know, we'll take a look at the quote tweets on this. All this just because you cried that your dumbass anime waifu was probably gonna be in Fortnite. Y'all always say something nobody agrees with, then to make everyone feel bad for you, you say you're getting death threats every fucking time, but he definitely is getting death threats. I believe that. People say that shit all the time. And you just know that this person, if someone made one death threat to a trans person or one death threat to a black person, they would be flipping their shit. I can tell you voted Republican just by your avatar. What? It's just like anime? What the fuck are they talking about? What does this have to do with fucking anything? How it started. Fortnite is enjoyed by children. This upsets me. How it ended. Let me be clear. Sure, I agree with Matt Walsh on things, but I'm just asking questions. But he doesn't agree with Matt Walsh. We haven't seen that. Are there screenshots of that? All we've seen is that he says slurs, but that doesn't indicate that he agrees with the position. I mean, in his Twitlonger, he literally was like I don't care what people do. Trans people can do what they want. I don't think they're all mentally ill. So how does that agree with anything that Matt Walsh says? Matt Walsh is like a political person. And their evidence that he agrees with Matt Walsh is that he doesn't believe trans women should compete in the same sports leagues as biological women, which is a normal take. That's not even just like a Matt Walsh take. I remember Destiny got banned for this shit, saying that he doesn't think trans women should compete in the same sports leagues. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in something as competitive as sports, right? Something that people take that seriously. If you're born a biological male and you transition into being a woman, right? As long as it's like after a certain point, like you're not gonna be able to skip puberty. If you're a 6'3" dude and then you transition to be a 6'3" female, that's cool. But, you know, should you be able to compete with like women who were born with a vagina? They were born like, you know, the average female height is what, like 5'4"? Should you be able to compete in the same class as these people? No. No. Bro got sent this and had a Sephiroth monologue on why hating minorities is not that big of a deal. But that's not, he didn't say he hates minorities. Like that's literally not what he said. If you read it, he said he doesn't hate them. Can these people like read? Is that the problem? Maybe we would take your apology more seriously if you didn't say transphobic and racist things on multiple occasions and then proceed to refuse accountability and change. He pretty blatantly said they were jokes. I mean, you can criticize his humor. You can be like, that's unfunny. You suck. But I just don't get the constant like jumping to him being racist. Some of the most popular comedians of the last generation were saying the N-word on stage. George Carlin was saying the N-word on stage. I wouldn't consider him racist. And he says, okay, agreeing with an actual transphobe on his stances, but it's not his stances. It's not all of Matt Walsh's stances. It's one stance, which probably the majority of people, even liberals, would probably agree with. I think a lot of trans people would probably agree with this. Those that aren't like terminally online freaks who like quote tweet this guy, they probably would agree. I don't know. I don't know a lot about this guy, but maybe his videos are good. Maybe they're not. I really don't know. But I will say, like, talking about politics when you're trying to just run a business is probably not wise. Maybe he's opinionated, but talking about politics in any way is just gonna alienate people. So for your own self-preservation, I mean, even I, most of the time, I just avoid talking about it. Even though my political views are not that out there, I just avoid talking about politics in pretty much any context because it's just not worth it.